director disqualification, how long has the insolvency service got to let you know if they're going to seek or apply for your disqualification as director, in particular if you've gone into some kind of insolvency procedure such as insolvent liquidation. Now, the answer is in the Directors Disqualification Act, which we will come on to. So above you can see Company Directors Disqualification Act 1986. Most of the matters of director disqualification proceedings is in this particular piece of legislation. And under Section 7, it talks about disqualification orders or disqualification undertaking. Disqualification undertaking is when you do it by consent. In other words, the Secretary of State or the Insolvency Service puts it to you that we think you should be disqualified for X number of years, and you decide to agree to it. So it's a consensual process rather than contested director disqualification proceedings through the courts. But there is not an unlimited time frame in order for the Secretary of State or the actively being done by the Insolvency Service, typically in the case of companies going into insolvency, but there is not an unlimited time period from which when the company goes into liquidation until such time as the Secretary of State can bring those proceedings. And in fact, in Section 7 of the Company Directors Disqualification Act 1986, it says that it cannot be brought after more than 3 years. And that time period applies to from when the company goes into liquidation, or alternatively, if the company doesn't go into liquidation, it goes into simple dissolution from the point that it goes into dissolution. So to that extent, you can have peace of mind that particularly if you're going into some sort of liquidation like creditors' voluntary liquidation or compulsory liquidation, 3 years later, if they haven't issued proceedings by then you are effectively not going to be subject to director disqualification proceedings. Now, there is one get-out, however. Now, if you look above, it says, except with the leave of the court. So it is possible for the limitation period to be extended, but generally speaking, that would be an extremely rare event, and normally you'd have the 3-year provision. Questions, queries, concerns, give us a shout. We know insolvency inside out.